There's a quiet moment before destiny reveals its teeth, a moment where the chosen one still believes their path will be lit with the divine favor, golden signs, and effortless victories. It's a dream many cling to, the idea that being chosen means being special, protected, destined for greatness. But few ever speak of the shadow that follows this light, the cost that hides beneath the crown. Before we unravel what it truly means to be chosen, stay until the end of this exploration, because what you are about to hear may change how you see purpose, suffering, and destiny itself. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to this channel, because this journey through truth, shadow, and awakening is one you'll want to walk with open eyes and a steady heart. To be chosen is to be set apart, not above others, but away from them. It begins innocently, often as a calling that hums beneath the surface of ordinary life. You sense it when silence feels charged, when coincidences seem to conspire, when your pain feels too precise to be random. The universe whispers to you through strange alignments, heartbreaks, and relentless inner nudges. And at first, it feels beautiful, like being seen by God. You imagine the path ahead will be one of illumination, as though divine forces will clear obstacles and crown your journey with meaning. But that illusion fades when you realize that being chosen is not about privilege, it is about burden. It's about carrying something the world cannot yet understand, something that isolates you as much as it exalts you. The dark side of being chosen begins here, in the paradox between recognition and rejection, between divine purpose and human pain. It's not a blessing that lifts you above the crowd, it's a fire that burns away everything false, leaving only the raw essence of who you truly are. Every chosen one must pass through this fire. Some mistake it for punishment, others flee from it. But those who endure begin to see what lies beyond the veil of glory, the hidden architecture of the soul's refinement. Imagine a forge. A sword cannot be made from untouched metal. It must be melted, hammered, and folded upon itself thousands of times. Likewise, the chosen must be stripped, tested, and sometimes broken until they become instruments of truth. The process is not gentle, it's surgical. The universe does not coddle those it calls. It dismantles their comfort, exposes their illusions, and forces them to face what others can ignore. This is why many chosen ones feel cursed instead of blessed. They face betrayals that carve deep wounds, isolation that borders on madness, and inner battles so fierce that they question their own worth. Yet, hidden in this suffering is the alchemy of transformation. The darkness is not meant to destroy them, it is meant to refine them. But what does it really mean to be chosen? Not chosen by society, religion, or fate in the theatrical sense, but chosen by consciousness itself, by the fabric of reality that demands growth through experience. In every age, there are souls whose lives seem scripted for awakening. They are born into chaos not by accident, but by design. Their lives function as mirrors for the collective human struggle. They feel pain more deeply, see patterns more clearly, and sense injustice more viscerally. It's not that they are better, it's that they are built to see, to feel, to awaken. And with that awareness comes an almost unbearable weight, the inability to unsee the truth. There is a quiet tragedy in this awakening. Once you begin to perceive beyond the surface, beyond social masks, false promises, and cultural illusions, you lose the comfort of ignorance. You no longer belong to the world as it is, you belong to the world as it could be. This exile from the ordinary is what defines the dark side of the chosen path. You are awake among the asleep, trying to speak a language that others have forgotten. Your insights are met with skepticism, your compassion mistaken for weakness, your vision mocked or feared. And yet, beneath all this misunderstanding, you carry a light that refuses to extinguish. Many chosen ones go through what ancient mystics called the night of the soul. It's not merely depression or despair. It's a spiritual eclipse. In that night, everything sacred feels distant, and every prayer feels unheard. You question not only your mission, but your sanity. You feel abandoned by the very force that once called you forward. But this, too, is part of the initiation. The divine must disappear so that you can learn to walk without the illusion of external guidance. Only then can your own inner flame, your authentic light, begin to burn independently. The chosen are not meant to depend on faith, they are meant to become it. The dark side of being chosen is that you will outgrow people you love. You will lose the comfort of belonging to the masses. You will see through systems that others still worship, and your silence will often be mistaken for pride. You will want to save the world, but realize that the world resists saving. And in that realization, you will face the deepest paradox of all, that enlightenment is not an escape from suffering but an intimate embrace of it. You cannot become the light until you have tasted every flavor of darkness and learned to love even the shadows. So, as we begin this exploration, understand this truth. Being chosen does not make you special, it makes you responsible. It calls you to carry wisdom born from wounds, to translate pain into purpose, and to keep walking even when no one applauds your steps. It's a solitary road, but not a meaningless one. Each scar becomes scripture, each trial becomes initiation, and each fall becomes a fragment of the sacred mosaic you are destined to embody. This is the untold side of divine selection, the side few want to discuss because it dismantles the fantasy of effortless purpose. But it is precisely within this dismantling that truth begins to emerge. Because the darkness of being chosen is not a flaw, it's the crucible of awakening. It's where the soul stops chasing destiny and starts becoming it. To truly grasp the dark side of being a chosen one, we must first understand the architecture beneath it, the hidden structures of transformation that bind light to shadow, purpose to suffering, and awakening to isolation. At the heart of this paradox lies one truth. To be chosen is not a reward, it is a contract. It's a spiritual agreement made long before birth. A vow to awaken not just for oneself, but for the collective consciousness of all beings. This path does not follow the rules of comfort or conventional success. Instead, it is woven through loss, silence, and the endless dismantling of false identity. The chosen one is not chosen because they are flawless. They are chosen because they are capable of breaking. The first core theme of this journey is initiation through destruction. The universe does not teach the chosen through praise, it teaches through dismantling. Each breakdown is a coded lesson, each disappointment a door to a deeper layer of awareness. You are stripped not because you are unworthy, but because your attachments cannot survive the altitude of awakening. In this process, the chosen one learns that destruction is not the opposite of creation, it is its twin. The death of one self births another, more refined one. This cycle continues until there is nothing left to burn but truth itself. Another core theme is isolation as transformation. Chosen ones often walk through periods of intense solitude, not as punishment but as preparation. The silence of separation is where the soul recalibrates. When the familiar dissolves and the world no longer mirrors you, you are forced to become your own mirror. In that reflection, you begin to see what you truly are, something eternal, luminous, and utterly beyond the need for validation. This realization is terrifying and liberating at once. You lose the comfort of identity, yet gain the freedom of essence. The chosen path demands that you stand alone, not out of arrogance, but because your light cannot be dimmed by consensus. The next recurring theme is rejection as refinement. Every chosen one experiences rejection, from friends, from society, even from the institutions they once trusted. This rejection is a divine sieve that filters out illusions. When doors close and people turn away, the universe is not saying you are unworthy. It is saying you are ready to walk through a different door. The chosen must learn to interpret loss not as failure, but as redirection. The outer world collapses so that the inner kingdom can rise. It's an alchemy so subtle that most mistake it for tragedy, when in truth it is a metamorphosis. A deeper concept within this journey is illumination through shadow. To be chosen is to confront one's own darkness, not as an enemy but as a teacher. Every shadow that rises is a forgotten part of the self, begging to be reintegrated. Those who deny their darkness remain fractured. Those who embrace it become whole. This is why the chosen often appear to descend into chaos before they ascend into clarity. The descent is not failure, it is excavation. The light they later radiate is proportionate to the darkness they have faced without turning away. At the metaphysical level, being chosen is an encounter with polarities: love and fear, surrender and control, spirit and matter. These dualities dance through the chosen one's life, creating internal wars that mirror cosmic struggles. The reason is simple. To embody balance, you must first experience imbalance. To wield divine wisdom, you must understand human weakness. It is through the friction between opposites that energy, growth, and insight are born. This is the eternal law of evolution. No light without shadow, no awakening without loss. There's also the theme of service through suffering. Many chosen ones resist their calling precisely because it demands so much sacrifice. Their hearts are wired for compassion, yet their path is strewn with hardship. Why would a loving universe demand this? Because empathy is born not from ease, but from experience. You cannot guide others out of darkness unless you have walked through it yourself. Every wound becomes a point of resonance, a doorway through which divine service flows. The chosen are not saviors. They are living bridges between pain and understanding. And underlying it all is the theme of truth versus illusion. To awaken as a chosen one is to witness the crumbling of collective lies, the myths of separation, competition, and identity. You begin to see how fear governs the masses, how systems exploit distraction, and how comfort often breeds stagnation. This sight is both blessing and curse. Once you see, you cannot unsee. Once you know, you cannot unknow. And so the chosen must navigate the delicate balance between compassion and clarity, seeing the illusion for what it is, yet loving those still trapped within it. These core themes intertwine like constellations across the soul's night sky, revealing that the dark side of being chosen is not a deviation from the path, it is the path. Each trial, rejection, and loss is a sacred code, teaching you to shed what is false so you can stand as a living frequency of truth. But to grasp this fully, one must journey deeper, beyond themes and ideas, into the realm of myth and symbol, where every pain hides a cosmic parable and every scar conceals a secret key to the divine. In the oldest stories of the world, the chosen one never rises in light alone. The hero's halo is always cast by firelight. Think of Moses, exiled into the desert before hearing the voice of God. Think of Buddha, tempted by illusion beneath the Bodhi tree. Think of Christ, betrayed and crucified before resurrection. These are not separate myths. They are echoes of a single universal pattern. Illumination must pass through annihilation. The dark side of the chosen path is not an obstacle to divinity, it is the womb of it. Let us descend into one such allegory. Imagine a lone traveler entering a vast forest at dusk. He was once told that a hidden temple of light awaited him deep within the woods, and that only those destined could find it. At first, the path is soft, illuminated by fading sunlight filtering through emerald leaves. But as he moves deeper, shadows lengthen. The forest grows dense, and the path disappears. Soon, he realizes he is lost. Panic sets in and his torch flickers. He curses the voice that sent him here. He questions his worth, his sanity, his entire journey. He collapses beneath a tree, weeping. Then, in the silence, a new light appears, not ahead, but within him. The forest has not betrayed him. It has stripped him of reliance on the outer flame. The temple was never a place. It was a state of being revealed only through despair. This is the hidden structure of divine awakening. The chosen must lose the external to find the internal. The forest of confusion, the night of the soul, the loss of faith. These are all sacred disguises of transformation. Only when the old light dies does the true light awaken from within. Another symbolic tale speaks of the mirror of the abyss. A seeker comes to a lake rumored to reflect one's true nature. The lake is black as ink. The seeker peers into it hoping to see divinity, but instead sees every flaw, every fear, every shadow they've ever suppressed. Horrified, they turn away, calling the reflection evil. But as they walk, they realize the shadows follow them everywhere. They cannot escape them, for they are them. Finally, the seeker returns to the lake, kneels, and this time does not flinch. As they gaze into the darkness with acceptance, the reflection shifts. The black water turns luminous. The seeker realizes the abyss was not a curse, it was a mirror showing what was unloved. In embracing it, they reclaim their wholeness. The chosen one's shadow is their greatest teacher. Every fear rejected becomes a demon. Every fear embraced becomes an ally. The universe speaks most loudly through the monsters we refuse to face. To reject them is to reject part of ourselves. The dark side, then, is not the enemy. It is the initiation rite into divine maturity. A final parable tells of a phoenix that grew weary of endless rebirths. "Why must I always burn?" it asked the sky. "Why can't I simply soar without suffering?" The wind replied, "Because your fire is not punishment, it is remembrance. You burn, so you will never forget what you are made of." The phoenix understood then that immortality without transformation is stagnation. The chosen must burn to evolve, and though the flames hurt, each ash-born rebirth brings them closer to the original spark, the uncorrupted essence of divine consciousness itself. These stories are not relics of mythology, they are living metaphors of our evolution. Every chosen one, in some form, walks through the forest, stares into the mirror, and rises from the fire. The darkness is never random. It's a sacred choreography orchestrated by the soul. What appears as loss is often the dismantling of illusion. What feels like exile is the reorientation of truth. The chosen one's suffering, seen from the higher view, is not cruelty, it's calibration. The soul aligns through contrast, just as stars define themselves against the black of night. If the chosen one's journey were only spiritual, it might be easier. But the real challenge comes in bridging the mystical with the mundane, carrying cosmic awareness into daily life. The chosen must learn to live among the sleeping without falling back into slumber. This requires strength, compassion, and clarity, a sacred balance of being in the world, but not of it. In the real world, the dark side of being chosen manifests as subtle friction. You sense truth others avoid. You feel energies others dismiss. Crowded rooms exhaust you, empty ones revive you. You become sensitive not only to emotions but to the lies that shape them. This sensitivity can feel like a curse. But sensitivity is the price of perception. To feel deeply is to see deeply, and to see deeply is to bear responsibility for that vision. The chosen one often struggles with belonging. Friendships may fall away, not through conflict but through vibration. You no longer resonate with gossip, with hollow pursuits, with superficial dramas. Yet, this isolation forges discernment. You begin to attract those who mirror your growth rather than your wounds. Community, when it finally returns, is no longer built on convenience but on consciousness. At work, in relationships, or society, the chosen's inner code is constantly tested. The world will tempt you to dilute your truth to fit in. It will reward compliance and punish authenticity. The dark side of being chosen means you must stand firm in your integrity even when it costs you comfort. Every compromise fractures your inner alignment. Every act of courage strengthens your frequency. To live truthfully in a false world is itself a revolution. Another real-world implication is the emotional toll of awareness. When you see injustice, manipulation, or suffering, you cannot ignore it. Your empathy feels both divine and unbearable. But this sensitivity must be refined into wisdom. The chosen must learn that not every battle is theirs to fight, and not every soul is ready to awaken. Detachment does not mean indifference. It means respecting divine timing. Your role is not to force light upon others, but to embody it so purely that it becomes contagious. In practical terms, this path calls for deep self-care. Solitude, meditation, journaling, time in nature, these are not luxuries, they are survival tools. The chosen's energy is a vessel for transformation, and it must be protected. Learning to say no, to rest, to unplug from noise is not selfish, it is sacred maintenance. The body is the temple of your mission. Neglect it, and your light dims. As the chosen matures, they realize that the true measure of spiritual power is not how mystical one appears, but how grounded one remains amidst chaos. The goal is not to escape humanity, but to redeem it through example. Kindness becomes a weapon. Presence becomes prayer. Silence becomes teaching. The chosen's greatest contribution is not in what they say, but in what they are. Eventually, the chosen learns to see their darkness as medicine. Each scar teaches compassion. Each failure expands humility. The pain that once felt unbearable becomes a frequency of wisdom that draws others toward healing. The dark side becomes the hidden half of the halo, the shadow that gives depth to the light. There comes a moment on the chosen path when you stop asking, "Why me?" and begin whispering, "Thank you." Not because the pain was enjoyable, but because it revealed what could never have been found in comfort. The dark side of being chosen is the birthplace of unshakable strength. It teaches you to trust the silence, to walk through storms with faith unspoken, to love even when understanding fails. It strips away the illusion that light is gentle. It shows that true illumination is fierce, unyielding, and profoundly alive. To be chosen is to stand between worlds, the human and the divine, the visible and the invisible. Is to be a translator between frequencies, a bridge between despair and hope. The darkness you faced was never a detour, it was the initiation into mastery. Every tear, every betrayal, every night of doubt was a sacred rite preparing you for the truth. You are not chosen to escape the world, you're chosen to heal it, one act of consciousness at a time. The transformation completes when you realize that the chosen one was never a separate identity. It was simply the soul remembering itself. The myth dissolves, and what remains is presence. Pure, luminous awareness expressing through a human form. That is the highest calling of the chosen, not to be worshipped, but to embody wholeness so others may remember their own. And so, as you step forward from this reflection, carry this knowing gently. Your darkness is not your enemy. It is your sacred ally, your divine sculptor, shaping you into a vessel of light, resilient enough to hold truth. The world needs your authenticity, your compassion, your courage to remain awake in a sleeping civilization. You are not alone. Countless souls walk beside you, unseen but resonant, weaving a web of awakening across time and space. Remember, light without shadow is blind, and shadow without light is lost. To be chosen is to be both, and through this paradox, the soul learns to shine, not in defiance of darkness, but because of it.